Okay, I'll start looking for some adapter, but I think it's generally fine already. So this is how we spend weekends in Singapore. We go INSEAD and study strategy. So very nice to see you again. Actually, I hope got a good chance to catch up with some of you yesterday. So it was a very nice conversation. Thanks for that. Thanks for coming for the booth here. My name is Aleks. I'm running a company called SOMIN. And this company builds software for marketers to build marketing strategy and execute campaigns via AI, machine learning, and this kind of similar technology. So we are in operation for about 7 years, and the things that I will be talking today are very new, so very cutting edge. Singapore government supporting us a lot with this as well because they have a very strong push towards AI, and they are naturally supporting the companies that are AI driven and build different applications with using artificial intelligence. I'm originally was a student like you are as well, just not in INSEAD, but in NUS. I mean, cross few roads, just in there. I came here to do my PhD, and I have done very much technical research, so it took me some time to convert from purely technical person to become a business person. But it was a very interesting journey. Maybe I will mention about that journey a little bit as well. All in all, I think what is the most exciting for me is to apply technology to real business cases. Because if it's not, then why we all do this? All right. So my PhD topic, I was doing PhD in the US, was about running different analysis of social networks, and we were trying to understand how people behave, what do they do, and what's their interests based on what they post on social media. It was very technical research. So we were building some machine learning models. We were doing this multi-model stuff before anyone in the world even heard about it. You can find a lot of publications, but then I started a company, and we become very much focused on customer acquisition. It's pretty much anything what any startup would be doing. So I was thinking what to talk about today. I was thinking maybe to do some product demos or talk about the business. And I decided just to take a very recent case that we had with our client called Miraflora. These guys are selling beef on e-commerce. I'm not sure whether you have experienced anything like that in the past, but apparently in the US, people still buy beef on e-commerce because the distances are quite long, and barbecue culture is very popular. I guess they are probably second biggest, second most consuming meat nation in the world, right? So they have a place for this kind of business. And if you'll see later that this is a quite vibrant industry, and a lot of them indeed compete against each other doing offers, just like you will be doing with your bags and different items here on Shopee, the similar way to sell beef in the US. So this company is a client of ours, client of SOMIN. We were doing some advertising for them. We were helping them to run and optimize performance campaigns. But they had a problem. They never can make it to a lower customer acquisition cost. When it comes to their digital marketing, it's always really too expensive for them. So they cannot really match the unit economics. And there were many ideas Why could that be the reason? So they were thinking audience targeting, and they were thinking about creatives that they do. Those who are in digital marketing here, you know all those talks we usually have when something doesn't work in ads. But nothing helped. And we volunteered as their partner to go a bit deeper, and I just want to go through this case study with you, through the actual report that we have presented to them, and then you kind of can understand one way of working with different types of data to actually come up with a meaningful conclusion that can help business to improve in the future. Because nowadays, it's no longer about just being creative or experienced in the industry. Nowadays, it's really about being able to work with data. And what I learned yesterday, and it's great news, many of you actually have a technical background or data background or looking for a career that is in this neighbor space. So you have brand like this selling beef on e-commerce, different cuts, and cost per result is just way too high. So why would that be the case? Can you scan the QR code and let me know your opinions? Of course, this is a tricky question because you don't know much about them. But just generally speaking, if somebody trying to sell something on e-commerce, what could be those factors that affect the cost? I give you 1 minute. Just feel free to drop any ideas on that. Yeah, thanks for being active. So, okay, a lot of different ideas. So, I'll just pick up a few. Delayed call to action, right? So, I would assume, whose idea was that actually? Yeah. So, what do you mean by delayed call to action?
So I went on the website out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And the first thing that you see is we are this company, we do this. Click here to go on another page. And then on the other page you see other stuff. And then I presume that you have to put it in the shopping bag or something. And
so it's like a broken customer journey in a sense, right?
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what I meant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So quite to the point, you will see later in the case one of the things that we discovered as well. Okay, niche audience. This is generally about the business. I think in Colorado, which is a location where the sales about 10%, people tend to buy online, and that the rest go to their market still. But US market is big, and Colorado is also big, so it's okay. Yeah, so it's just really how about you work with this audience. That there's a wrong targeting audience. Okay, so the wrong targeting audience, that was a favorite client's idea. Generally speaking, if you would be ever running any software or marketing agency or something like this, that would be one of the most common things your clients will be coming to you and say, hey, your audience is wrong, that's why nothing works. That's not their business, not their product, not their everything, but it's the audience is wrong. Sometimes it is the case. Here is way more to that, actually. Not just a wrong audience or something like this. So no proof of quality, or there was another one for optimization. Yeah, no proof of quality. So pretty much we're talking about our RTV's reason to believe, right? So maybe they don't have enough brand equity, and they haven't really shown to the audience that they are the brand to go when it comes to buying meat. So yeah, I think this is all very good ideas. And thanks for going to the website. That's actually the first thing you should do when you work with a company. Apparently not obvious to everyone. There's many things that we found, and let's just go through them. So the way we worked with this, we not just use social media only or websites, manual analytics. We are trying to make it always holistic, and I would say that generally, if you look at efficient digital strategies, there will be pretty much 4 pillars in there. The first one will be audience research. Audience research. So there is a couple of the companies that particularly focused on this. Nielsen, have you heard about? How many of you have heard about Nielsen? Yes, so Nielsen, Global Web Index. Here in Singapore, we have a company called Milio. They are very detailed, very deep, but just for local market, they can tell you whether local consumers buy Sudai or croissant coffee, these kind of things. And some of them are more global, like GWI, so they're more uniform. So this is one part of it, their audience research. Then the second part of it is competitor analytics. So you need to understand the actual communications of the competitors, because if you don't, then you might be coming up with great ideas, and then the audience of that idea will be just you and your marketing team, right? So you need to understand their competitors. So this is the second part. And the third part is our business analytics. This is how we work with the CRM, talking to our customers, how our offline sales are happening. Or we can call it business insights or business analytics. And the last one is social listening. How many of you have heard about social listening? You worked in social listening companies. How about anyone else? Yeah? Anyone know what social listening is? Raise your hand. So social listening is very much analysis of the audience that is on digital. Maybe I'll let you explain what the social listening is, since you were working in a company.
So social listening is basically when a company wants to know about what people are saying about their competitors or some of the campaigns that they might have launched or their brand itself, and they would collect data from different sources. It could be different social media apps, it could also be blogs, websites. So they would basically they would collect all of that data and there are different platforms for it. So all of that data would come into one platform, and on the dashboards they can basically get like a sentiment test basically.
Yeah, so it's a sentiment analysis of the social audience. That's why it's called social listening. So the key is sentiment, social, and the audience. So yeah, you also need to understand that, of course, social listening is way bigger when it comes to the sample of the data that they can collect, but also that data is very biased compared to, say, these guys, like Nielsen, who talk to real people on the ground. They can only talk to thousands of hundreds of thousands when it comes to each of the countries, but they know very detailed information about them. So for this study, what we were deploying is audience research and competitor analytics. We had some insights about business insights from the customers themselves, and we didn't do social listening, right? So I just explicitly want to show you that there are actually 4 pillars, in my opinion, in there, and in this study particularly focus on 2 or 2.5 of them. So that's what we did. We wanted to first understand what is the actual audience behavior in Colorado, the key market where Miraflora is selling. And you can find a couple of interesting things. First of all, they are rather large, right? So 4.7 million population there, and out of this 2.7 million population, 2.8 actually are very keen to cook, very much into cooking. Very different to Singapore. Singapore, nobody cooks. Everybody, focus centers. So, and if you look at different specific properties of Coloradans, right? You can say that they're very open-minded, very culturally curious, have an urge to express themselves, and they are price conscious and also brand loyal. So just talking about this point earlier, maybe you have enough RTB, now reason to believe that the quality is good, etc. Or maybe the quality of service could be not so good. Right? So actually Coloradans, the audience is really sensitive about this. Just one note for you to remember. Yes?
The data with the index is your proprietary data, right? From
I just wanted to talk about index. Yeah, so it's not my proprietary data, it's the data from GWI, Global Web Index, one of the audience research platforms. And they are very close collaborators of us. So very much every insight of our platform, when it used in enterprise, always backed up for the audience by the audience research data, because you don't want to make conclusions based on only social, you want to make conclusions based on who the people are actually on the ground. So thanks for asking what the index is. The index is the indicator of how much this particular statistics differs from their general population of Colorado, the US, or in the world, right? So if you see that 55.3% of them are price conscious and brand loyal, and our particular filter here is people who like to cook, interest cooking, you can say that by 18% higher chance this particular group differs from overall Americans. So people who like cooking, they really care brands when it comes to Colorado, and they're really price conscious. You can also look at it this verse, maybe because they're price conscious, they just to cook, right? Or something like this. And we'll be dealing with quite a bit of this data, but honestly very useful. So remember GWI, Nielsen, remember what is index, and remember how these databases usually operate, because in your future company or career, it's very likely, especially with the bigger one, it's very likely somebody will be coming with all these kind of databases to use to prove. And it's a good idea to use this kind of databases. So they also say the shoppers, yeah, so they look for best deals, they research before buying, they use discount codes and coupons, and they use loyalty and reward programs. So what does it mean? That means that since they tend to use this, we probably need to utilize all these things. So did we really do so? Okay, we'll see in the future. But if you want to look particularly at a more affluent Coloradians, and that will also the brief from the customer, they say, Alex, you're probably just selling to not rich enough Coloradians. That's why we don't have too much of the purchase on e-commerce. Maybe they just cannot afford our product because the Wagyu is more expensive than average meat you would buy, something like this. So you can actually go further and you can try to understand what is the split. For example, affluent and above audience, 29% overall, right? And you can see that affluent and above would be 85 plus, right? So it's like these two sectors, this and the following sector. And then if you put that filter in, you'll understand that certain factors change compared to overall Coloradians, right? What we really want to look here is those green ones that get even higher. So, for example, they want to explore the world, they interested in other cultures. Maybe this one, they are more brand loyal. So the richer you are, the more brand loyal you are usually, right? So if you want to get the more affluent Coloradans and you're selling meat, you gotta have to think about your brand equity. Otherwise, it just might not work. And a couple of other things like they use loyalty rewards programs, they use discount codes, even more than general Coloradans. So this is very interesting. So the richer you are, if you like to cook, the more you will be actually sensitive, not to the price, but to the deal. In other words, I don't really care how much it costs, but I really want to make sure that I have the best deal out there, right? They hate to be, cheated, or they hate to be inefficient when it comes to their purchase decisions. And it kind of makes sense because they're no longer driven really by the price. For them, it's just to make things done, to have the quality. That's why they care the brand, and then they're really sensitive is the deal. So now we are switching the gears from understanding the audience for now to understanding actually what they were communicating. And I will show you the actual content later. Now I'm just showing you the final distilled statistics for you to kind of get to know the approach of how to work with the data and how to make decisions based on this. So here we can see that there is a couple of different key messaging that everybody were adopting. So this is all generated by AI, by the way, from the competitive communications, right? So this is not, it can be done manual. In fact, our software is exactly for doing these things automatically and fast. So there's a couple of messages. So elevate your calendar experience with high quality ingredients. And you can see that Snake River Farms, which is also the biggest competitor of Miraflora, they were talking about that. And they also rested this brand, very much focused on this particular message. Then elevate your culinary experience with high quality Wagyu beef. Similar, Miraflora is here, though they have a bigger one, which is Lone Mountain Wagyu. They don't really fight with these guys, but in the communication space, actually, these guys are bigger than Snake River, which they see as their competitors. Then, again, culinary experience with the premium beef selections. Yes, it's about, again, very similar thing, right? About premium beef. And then the last one is about discounts. So we can see that the value proposition in that industry is very much about the quality of it, because this is how they can justify the higher price. But you can see, and this is very important, that Miraflora, this thin green line, almost didn't put any efforts on actually giving deals and offers to their customers. And they were working like this for 5 years. So we have Colorado that has solid population of affluent people who cook and eat your Wagyu product that is very deal sensitive. And out of everyone, you're probably the only one who doesn't give any deals. This is a real world problem because the CEO of this business is very strongly convinced that if they have a very premium quality product, they don't need to give discount and they will spoil their brand by giving discount. And they were even saying to me, we are Rolex in the beef world. And this is fine. In fact, if you talk to, let's say, Ferrari, here in Asia Pacific or in Italy, they'll say very similar things. They say, we don't give discounts for service, we don't run offers, we don't run ads, because we are Ferrari, right? That makes sense. But what Ferrari does have is a very strong brand equity, and Miraflora might not yet. Yes?
Also, Ferrari and Rolex are not digital only. So if you're digital only, you don't advertise, and it becomes tough for the customers.
Yeah, another very good point. But I think here is a misconception, right? Sometimes you have a premium, really great product, but you don't have enough brand equity, so that it's only you know that this is very good. I'll give you another example from Singapore. So, who likes coffee from Starbucks? Raise your hand. Okay, Who likes coffee from McDonald's? We actually got more people, but I tell you, McDonald's coffee use a much better beans than Starbucks coffee. And McDonald's keep complaining, I mean, I wouldn't tell you who exactly, but they keep complaining about it. They say, our coffee is just so much better, but people go to Starbucks and they don't buy coffee from our cafe. Okay, they put some effort, they make this premium, how it's called, McCoffee, right? So they're trying to detach McDonald's branding, which is fast food restaurants, and the coffee experience, but it's still rather hard. It's just a very good example of you having a better product, and I believe it is better. In fact, I do like McDonald's coffee more than Starbucks coffee, especially in Singapore. But Starbucks is Starbucks, and ultimately it gets back to people who want to walk, have a coffee, and McDonald's doesn't, despite having a better product. And the same thing for startups. Any of you will run startups? Raise your hands. Yeah? No? So I think one learning from startup world is to say, if you got the best product, it means nothing. You're gonna have a really right GTM, and you better even don't build product before you figure out whether anybody needs it. Yes?
So don't you think even when building a brand, even when you don't have a big presence, you need to acquire certain customers and not dilute your funnel with bad customers, which over time would not align with the brand value that you're trying to build?
Of course. And there will be a few more points about that part as well. Yes?
To your point as well, I interned for a VC fund, and one of our portfolio companies, according to them, they had the best product by far. They had the better pricing, but because their pricing was so much lower than the other competitors, the perception they create in the market was maybe it's not so good, or
and also they're startup, right?
Yeah.
So startups also less reliable, might bankrupt,
Yeah.
Because startups very often put low pricing because they have lots of VC money. So they don't really need to build a business, and they say, oh, I'll build business next year. This year I focus on the growth because I have to show the hockey stick, right? So, yes. So being sometimes too cheap is actually a problem. And there's so many factors to it. That's why understanding your company, understanding competition, and finding the right messaging is very important. Most of the founders, especially in startups, they just do something, and that something doesn't bring results, and later they feel frustrated because there's a lot of things you need to put something. My goal today is kind of encourage you to think a little bit about all the types of sources that you can use to come up with a better strategy. So now we look at the funnel. If you will look at their comps, this is Miraflora ads in the last year. So it's all about high quality beef, very inspirational. Sometimes even no call to action. It's a performance ad, but no call to action. So they, try to be Ferrari, And you'll see that most of their ads, if you look at the whole funnel, are on top. So they're trying to, if you want to cook, you can choose Wagyu, you can, if it's the right choice for me. So from awareness consideration, so people start thinking about it. So they actually help cafeterias quite a bit with this. It's nice because they get more audience into the funnel. But ultimately, if you want to get your cost per acquisition lower, you have to focus on the bottom of it, right? Particularly this blue conversion category. And then, as you rightly mentioned, the advocacy as well, right? Because you need to get enough people to advocate for you. So, how do you do it? You also can see that in their actual savvy shoppers segment of that audience, you can see that people research a lot. They research about the product that they buy, particularly. They research the beef, right? And it makes sense. You spend so much money and you really want to make a nice meal. So then you look at old Miraflora website. The one that we are looking now at is a new version that has been updated based on this case study. It actually applied to a lot of things. But I have screenshots of the old Miraflora website, right? So this is how they look like. You can purchase meat. It's basically, you come to the website and they tell you buy meat, expensive, buy now, that's it.
if you look at, not much explanation or anything. If you look at others, other competitors at the same time, and they really put thought into it, you will see that they were, telling you the weight, and they have this few details, so they really kind of created this experience like on a real e-commerce of choosing, I don't know, watch or and it's a funny example of Rolex, but generally speaking, they put effort, right? They use this whole blanket of explanation. You see, you cannot read it, but yeah, it tells you where it's from, how it's sterilized, and the temperature that they reused to store it. It kind of makes you feel premium, and it makes you feel like you're making a decision. So you get product features and attributes, and if you also look at another SRF, they make the quality, the grade, and the weight part of purchase journey. So when you buy, you have a lot of things to decide on that actually affect the price. So it's very transparent, and again, they are making you part of this story, right? You're kind of deciding on what kind of beef to buy and price together, almost like in the market when you will be chatting with someone who will be selling it to you. By the way, market business for Miraflora works pretty well. They just go farmer market and sell a lot of milk because they got a real farmer standing there and selling meat and knows this meat very well. But they just fail to replicate that same experience on e-commerce. But other competitors, they do. And if you look at the online purchase drivers in Colorado, you will see that people really care free delivery, coupons and discounts, reviews, and they also care those kind of convenience things like purchase process related things like get delivery, next day delivery, quick easy like checkout process, etc. Now, we took effort and looked at actual price. The green bar, this one, is Miraflora price for different types of meat. Ribeye, New York, and filet mignon. Do you see anything interesting and contradictory here? Yes?
They have the lowest prices across all, like in terms of deal, they are the best value for money, but that might not be reflected because they don't have free shipping for them.
Yes?
Is it before or after the other company applying no discount?
This is no discounts.
No
all
discount.
of them are no discounts. Right? So this is very interesting part, and I think this is kind of the key point there. They are premium. At the same time, for most of the products, they have the lowest price, but they don't give discounts, and they have this. If you don't order for $100, I'm not going to deliver meat to you. Let's say you have a family of, say, 2 people, and you only need meat for, $50, and you have to, you just don't want to waste, you care earth, and then they tell you, no, you have to order for $100, otherwise I'm not going to deliver it to you. They say they are premium, but also at the same time they are actually cheapest in the market, and they don't give discounts. So all this together makes it really, really very difficult to sell beef on e-commerce. And I would say most of the decisions are coming from the ideas of the CEO that is very passionate about building this business, but might not have enough time to really look at all the data because there's many businesses around there. And one interesting thing that comes from Facebook ads that you run is you have a lot of add to carts, and out of those add to carts, only maybe 5% actually convert. So does anybody have an idea why that would be the case? Yes?
Because you need, at least for me, you need to sign in or create an account or something like that, and then you just say, I'm not going to do that.
Because you have to order for $100.
That's a good one.
You are building, you're building your basket. Yes?
Even, I think you said that the affluent Coloradoans, I don't know, people from Colorado who are affluent, they don't want to get screwed over, right? They want a good deal, And when you say you have to spend minimum 100, then you make them feel like you're trying to take advantage of them.
In fact, they're a little bit trying to take advantage of them. But you have to say, they have a justification. You know, internally they say, I cannot really make delivery be free for the price points where the order is smaller than $100. Yes?
But isn't the solution then very simple? If you order less, you pay delivery. If you order more, you don't pay delivery. It's not, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something.
So, and this is another, I mean, yes, that's one of the solutions, and this is probably another very interesting bias, right? Certain people, personalities, they tend to think that if I pay for shipping and I, pay a lot, then I wouldn't buy it. This coming from the perception that I really care the price and maybe I want to save, but you will completely miss out a lot of people, especially in the affluent community, who don't mind to pay for shipping, but they don't want this meat get rotten in their fridge. Because in fact they are buying premium Wagyu beef that is very fresh. So it's a lot of good ideas were put in here, but because these ideas don't really form a story, and the flow and the funnel is getting broken so many times, these ideas are not really helping the business to work very well. In fact, I tell you, ideas are very cheap, and a very small percentage of success. Execution is much more important. Right? So share your ideas about your startups to everyone. Nobody will steal it from you. Because the key is how you make it work, not what the idea is. So yeah, people don't like to be forced to buy things, and this was a really bad idea. In the new website, if you go to the website and you will try to order less than $100, you will face the same banner, but just a little bit more beautiful. And ultimately, this is still kind of work needs to be done in order to make this happen and make the business really transform, being able to scale. So, yeah, this is the other competitors. You can see competitors actually give you the shipping price. Some of the shipping price is really like $39. Here it's a bit ridiculous, but you can see the mindset of the competitors. They tell you, hey, we're gonna give you your beef anyways. It might be really too expensive for you to ship it, or might be cheaper, but you're gonna get what you were spending your time on searching, researching on the website and finding, right? And actually Miraflora is the only one that just say, no, $100, otherwise I'm not gonna deal with you because you are premium professional. So, so we don't want to, and this is a recommendation, right? We were recommending this. So maybe we don't want to force the minimum order, but instead absorb the cost in other parts of the transaction, right? And if you want to make the mix to bottom funnel work, especially in ads, because we're running ads for them, what we really want to make sure is we also match the rest of the competition in terms of the messaging that we are focused on. So if you look at types of different initiatives, there's a lot of them, a lot of focus on their discounts, on freebies and giveaways, on free shipping and bundles. Good Shop is particularly very good in it, and Snake River Farms participate in free shipping and discounts. Miraflora is just very small on discounts and a little bit of free giveaways. And one of the reasons why they're small here is because they don't really run a lot of ads. But why would you run a lot of ads if the ads don't fit your unit economics, right? So you would, and it become a chicken egg problem. So it's very often in our industry, you need to solve a lot of problems with business, with a promotion strategy, with a product strategy first, and with a website and many other things before you really start, running advertising. So advertising, just another insight, advertising is very often not a solution. Most of the times, actually, it is not a solution. Yes?
Did you have the sales numbers for the competitors?
No. I don't know how to
sales numbers for competitors.
Okay. So how would you know, like which of these is actually making a significant difference?
Oh yeah. So I'm talking now about the number of their mentions of particular types of discounts and different ads that they were running over the year. Right? So I'm talking about communication volume. I'm not talking about the sales volume. One way to assess the performance of it is look at, say, engagements and also social listening metrics. But the flip side of the coin is that that's very biased because people who engage with your content usually is not the one buying Wagyu from you or any other product. Actually, they're two different communities. And this is a whole world of performance advertising. We can talk for ages about that particular thing, right? So it's the best is the actual sales, but we don't have it, so we look at volumes, communication volumes. So modern optics, what needs to be strengthened is promotion strategy, and there is a couple of very nice high index categories like reviews from other customers and easy return policies is also you can focus on because this is what particularly affluent Coloradans really care, and we don't give it to them. Then, yeah, finally, as there was a point earlier, once we get enough customers, they start advocate, and then it's very important because the moment they stick to the brand, they are very likely to stay on it. This, I'm not sure whether you can see it well or not. This is about their channels where they are getting their information about the brands. 48% find brands through friends and family, so it's very important about the bottom of the funnel. There's also brand advocacy part of it, so rewards, high quality products, and when I receive great customer service is the things that people usually say when they decide to recommend it to a family or friends. Yes?
Have you chosen these categories, or are they taken from GWI or somewhere else? That if you look at different aspects like rewards, high quality products, have you chosen them because they are the best, or are they taken from where you gather the data?
So this is gathered from the audience databases about Coloradians, but this, for example, is gathered from SOMIN platform, SOMonitor platform, to see what is the volume of communications everywhere. And that's how we fulfill these two pillars, right? The audience research and the comms, basically what brands are talking about and what is the actual interest and psychographics of the audience. So when you match these two, theory can get very good messaging in a particular market according to the audience and also according to what everyone else is doing and how you compete. Okay, so yeah, there's actually a lot of information here, but at the end of the day, what we want to care also is about the purpose. So it's all about branding, right? So they want the brand to be reliable, authentic, smart, innovative, reliable. It's very important, the most important thing, right? So somebody was earlier mentioning in my questionnaire, maybe quality and reliability is not there. Okay, so this is one of the important points as well. So try to use this QR code. I'm not sure whether it'll be working again or not, but try to use it and give some of your opinions about what is actually one that thing or message that Miraflora should adopt to do a better job. Is this easy to understand what I'm talking about? Raise your hand who very clear. Yeah, raise your hand who is very clear. And you? Yeah. So this is a little bit analytical, but this is also this is something very important for managing a corporation, managing marketing. So we've seen brands adopting it quite a bit. And the moment they start managing regional markets by using all these analytics and insights, they end up making a much better decision because let's say you have Asia Pacific, like what is specific about Asia? We might have 20, 30 markets to manage from Singapore or from Australia, and all of them will be talking in different languages, in a very different language in terms of the communication to the customers, really different personas, messages, angles, and it will be very hard for you to compete on each of the markets. But actually, if you know the audience of the markets and you know what the competitors are talking about, you can come up with very good ideas how you should position yourselves there. You don't need to, do the guesswork. And if you look at social listening, each last time, 10 years ago, when these platforms were rising, they're also talking about no longer guessing, but really understanding what the audience vibes, what the sentiments, what the response, whether your campaign is actually working or not. So this is all about very much a similar message and value for the marketers to become much more data-driven as compared to just making decisions in an old way. Okay, so we are talking about reliable, premium, efficiency, quality, fresh, cost-effective, creating a customer base. Who was saying creating a customer base?
Me.
Yeah, so what do you mean?
That they can just launch their product without being sure that a certain percentage will be acquired or at least targeted. It's just a waste of money.
Okay. So Peter, passionately brilliant, you pointed to us. Okay, that's always interesting. Okay, value for money. So yes, and ultimately I think it's very important here to also understand that for this business to work well, there's a couple of very obvious things that needs to be adapted. You want to make sure that you match the price in your funnel. You don't need to be lower than that. And you can actually use that gap to accommodate for those things that the audience really wants, like promotions, discounts, those deals. You can participate in that deal game in your communications. You really want to make it convenient for purchase. Yes, sometimes it will require them to pay for shipping, but this is fine because everyone else allows this option. And generally speaking, don't make decisions that is based on your own opinion. One of my friends, the founder of Waze, Uri Levine, he told this thing. He said, when you have a great idea and you build a company based on that idea, you're relying on the audience research data with a sample of one, which is just yourself. So just don't do that, right? Don't focus on just yourself when it comes to decision making, trying to adapt the data. So before I will show you how that the platform looks like, and I will let you to adapt it. You're gonna have your own brands to analyze it and do messaging. Just wanted to show you this 4-piece framework, which is one of the ways that creative marketers think about it. It's product, price, place, and promotion. So these were our recommendations to them, what they could adapt in their messaging, in their marketing to make things work better, right? So first, quality is not a choice, it's a standard. Miraflora isn't just a premium Wagyu, it's a statement of quality for those who expect the best. And you are trying to bring in customers to product, and you have different options for different type of customer, different personas, right? So the home chef, you might say, because cooking is anything less, and the best is not an option, right? Because chefs really, have very high quality standards. So chefs will actually also need a different experience on the website with all their selection that they want to choose. You remember I was showing you one of the screenshots of the competitors. That there will be another one for the host, another one for special occasion buyer. In marketing, we call it moments of truth, when different buyers, different types of buyers have special occasions in their life when they're more likely to purchase. Let's say I'm giving a lecture now and I'm thirsty and I don't have water. I'm more likely to purchase water from you for the triple price as compared to going out and having all the 7-Elevens of our world and other options, right? So that's called the moment of truth. When I'm in particular need, they can be occasional, they can be related to a particular state of life and many other things. Yes, so, and then if you will go to the deeper personas, which the platform has discovered already from everyone's comms, you can see that there is a festive celebrator, healthy foodie, and sustainability chef, and they have their corresponding different products. So the first one, the celebrator, the messaging can be make your gathering effortless, use Miraflora Wagyu, premium quality that guarantees a perfect meal without last minute panic, right? So it's the need and pain point of panicking in the last minute when preparing for some Super Bowl celebration or Christmas gathering. And then you might want to have the Wagyu Prime gift box. Yes, they deliver meat in gift boxes. That's what they do in the US. This is a good product match. So the spotlight here should be on their celebration, not kitchen stress, right? So you are telling them, hey, you don't need it doesn't need to be difficult to prepare for the gathering. Quite often it's for housewives as well, right? For them, every new celebration, every new occasion is a nightmare. They kind of hate it because you're gonna just spend all the time cooking. But actually, there is an option. You don't need to do it. It can be fast and convenient. There's a good box for this. The healthy foodie, sustainability chef. I will share this case with you. You can use it as an example, and you can also read it at home if you're curious about it. Right? So you can read the rest of the personas here. Then the price. Pricing is not just a cost, it's investment and confidence, so you never have to second guess on a meal. Yeah, so it's not about price competition, like making sure quality accessible to those who want. So a couple of different discounts that we're proposing to them, they haven't adopted any, despite they still need to, put effort to, change the mindset. But yeah, for example, 10% of your tester bundle, right? So you shouldn't have to settle for less when learning to master great steak. Not all Wagyu is the same. Discover makes each cut special with $20 of Wagyu tester bundle. So this is very interesting. Once a customer bought from you once, and they like the beef and the service, it's actually quite likely that they will return to you because it's simply convenient. You already registered everywhere. Just about ordering again. But many of those customers, they even didn't have a chance to buy first. So one of the ideas was, why don't you let really much better options of free shipping for a smaller size order for the first time buyers, for example, for them to experience the product. You're not going to do, free demo of your Wagyu, but at least you can, come up with some unit economics that focus on the lifetime value of the customer, not each purchase and cost of that purchase, or your ROAS, return of advertisement spend. And this takes effort and you have to be brave, but generally speaking, if you look at the good performance e-commerce businesses, they always predict the lifetime value of the customers and not looking at that particular very first purchase that they take, because if you're doing a good job and you're nurturing, retargeting later, you can actually do much better lifetime value and you can break even in the first couple of months. If a customer will stay with you for years, what matter, right? You're growing the base of brand equity, everything else is starting improving over time as well. And then the place, buying premium meat online should feel as natural as buying it in store. And that's back to the point of experience on actual website, the options that you choose, how you're going through this. So there's concerns about freshness and quality controls, so you have to showcase innovations, packaging techniques. Yeah, this is a little bit on awareness stage, but also can be on the website. Temperature management, shipping, etc. Yeah, so if it's a person for in-person selections, you can even do 3D things. Yeah, many things you can do. This is already ideation. Some of them are not directly applicable to them, of course. And then promotion. Premium is not just what you buy, it's how you feel about what you serve, right? So we can have a customer-centric approach, emotion-driven advertising, and we trust through experts, right? So that's about influencer marketing. In fact, if you look at the ads of others, you will see there's a lot of famous US chefs just cooking something, and it just shot on a phone camera, and that content works very, very well because you actually can see that very famous people adopting that particular, buying that particular meat from that particular vendor, and it's really nice and tasty, right? So you can showcase all these things. You can explain everyone why you have to believe your brand, your quality, your meat, whatever you sell. Yeah, and of course there's a lot of these moments of truth because, yeah, like a Super Bowl in the US is a big thing. Everybody's preparing. It's a really good moment to sell somebody a beef or barbecue, and talk about your spending your energy and time on gathering with family and friends, which is invaluable, instead of put all your effort on cooking something, right? So this is a real value for many people. There's anxiety. I hope everything turns out perfect. I don't want to disappoint anyone, right? Very often, the hosts have this anxiety, and this dish reminds me of home and times we spent together from childhood when we were cooking it together, right? So it's about experience and about memories, nothing about beef. Food is just, the facilitator of that. And I did it. Everyone is going to love this, right? So, a triumph or frustration. How can I make something everyone can enjoy without losing the essence of traditional meal? And again, this is about being a little bit picky about cooking and all this. So, just on time. So our plan now is to go to Miraflora platform. I will do that, right? And I will show you how that content looks like and how practically, with the help of AI, you can come up with a better messaging just on the spot. Why do you need to know this? For two reasons. Just first is because it's cool. Second, because you'll have to do it for the next 40 minutes by yourself. And you're going to do it not for Miraflora, but for your own brands that we have selected from you, right? So take time to spot your group members here. I think everybody will be going to breakout rooms later, right? Yeah. Anyway, so here is the platform. This is how it looks like. Did you guys have a chance to log in already into your access credentials, right? Good. So this is what you will see, and we are now talking about Miraflora. This is how we operate with the interface. So we have the source of the data, the social and ad library. Social is organic content. Is what people talk, what brands post on the internet organically, their social pages, etc. Ad libraries is Facebook ads, Google ads, advertising. Advertising is usually much more tactical. Organic content is usually much more, inspirational, top of the funnel, and ads are usually mid to bottom, sometimes also top, depending on the brand size. So I'll look at the ads, and I will analyze sometimes back. So here on the right side, I have the selector that can let me go rather back. For some of your brands, it's very fresh platforms. For some, you can go back well enough, but for sure, each of them has at least a month or two of the data for you to work with. So I choose the dates. Here I choose the brands. Here are all the brands that you were just now showing and seeing in the case, right? So we have this split. And good idea is to just eyeball content and understand what everybody's advertising is about. This is what I always do when I start working with a new client with a platform. So I'll look who was advertising what. I might play some of the videos. Good idea to allocate it to one of your team members. Just eyeball content and come up with what is going on. I also give you analytics on top, what the summary of this communication is. But really, looking at the content is always a good idea. You will get a lot of nice ideas how to work with the data. Yeah. So what the platform does actually under the hood, it takes each of this content and breaks it down into very detailed categorization. The topics, the communication schema, the type, the market segments, which brand was mentioned there, is there was tension in there, like pain point addressed, or some relevance, a key message,
what the interest of the audience is there, and the offers, initiatives, and all this information. Okay, first of all, this is what social listening doesn't do, and what the focus of this platform is, right? On the comms itself, not on their sentiments. But second, all this information is actually getting stored here and aggregated, so it's 3.73 thousand content, and you can see who was the market leader. So the size of these boxes of this tree map is actually telling you how the brands were addressing these audiences and content types, initiatives, segments in their comms, right? So for example, here you can see that this red company, which is, let me see who they are, Good Shop, was talking a lot about foodies, health-conscious individuals. Then they occupy pretty much half of the whole space when it comes to ads. And the second biggest was Snake River Farms, and they also talk to foodies first of all, and the cooking enthusiasts. So these guys are really competing to each other. Then there is also audience of families here, most popular in terms of how many times it was addressed in everybody's messaging. So one cool thing you can do is, for example, go and this is for an interview. You can actually go and sub-segment just that particular audience. So family, for example, right? And then this whole map will be rebuilt with relation to just family content. Good Shop is still the biggest, and the second biggest is no longer still Snake River Farm. But I can see that when it comes to families, Good Shop is actually even more dominating as compared to the other competitors. Then you can look at different types of promotions. They run different emotions that they appeal, that they talk to. Maybe the tone of voice is they exhibit, informal, confident, playful, or different. You have topics, market segments, brand mentions, genders, age groups, interests of the people that they are talking to, right? So I like somebody in the team, I suggest that, to work on this level to help you to actually understand what are the nitty-gritty discounts, analytics, demographics of the people that the ads address. So somebody could look at the content, somebody else could look at these three maps to find insights if you want to. And the third person could look at the brand tracker. And brand tracker is a module that helps you to understand the market split. So once you choose all these brands here, and you also choose ad libraries, you actually could see a very good understanding of, in this time interval, who was doing better, who was doing worse, and by how much, who was running more ads, whose ads were more clickable and less. Clickability is a prediction of click-through rates, kind of an indicator of how good that ad was going with the customers. You can assume that this is actual performance of the ad. Yes?
When you say better or worse and the rank, is it just how many more ads do you have than others, or is it clickability to ad ratio, or what's the...
Clickability is a parameter that we predict high, medium, or low. And it's a machine learning model trying to predict click-through rate pretty much.
So if I'm rank number 5, this means I have less ads circulating online than for other companies.
So you're talking about this ranking, right?
Yeah, ad activity rank.
Yeah, so activity is how much you post, how many ads you run, right? You can see the ads here. Number of creatives and ads is different as well, right? You need to understand that. Same creative can be reused many times. Clickability is how well that ads were performing.
And
Yeah.
that affects the performance rank.
Yeah, yes, correct. And you can look at each of these companies individually as well here, see all those advertising things like which placements they were running. Or you guys can look at organic content as well. Which is about social media postings. And it's good to have one person look at ads, another person look at organic. Or maybe you can decide the whole team to look only at organic or only on ads. It's fine. What I'm showing is here that this dashboard is actually showing you how much activity was done by everyone to advertise and also to post content on social media.
and who was doing better, who was doing worse in terms of engagement and other metrics. And in the previous dashboard, I was content library. I was showing you the actual content. So this is where you understand the semantics of it, the meaning of it, right? So who was addressing what kind of customers, how they were doing it, etc. So sometimes marketers find it's a bit complicated to work with the data. I'm sure you wouldn't find it complicated, but sometimes marketers do, most of the times, especially in Asia. So we have things that summarize it as well. So see here is an instant analyzer, so that thing works together with the filters that you choose and the data that you choose. So whatever filter you choose, here, 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 and the data that you choose, these guys will start building a high-level concepts from that data. So for example, we choose ad libraries, we go for the last, let's say last year. Right? So there will be a content here, summarized for like 2,100 ads that were run. Then we say, oh, we particularly focus on, let's say, inferred audience of families. And then, oops, different. Yeah, so you choose some audience, or you choose a particular attribute here, and then you can use the instant analyzer on the right side. That will help you to dive deep into their, I call it marketing strategy building bricks, such as personas, topics, relevances, tensions, propositions, personalities, initiatives. This is a concept that in creative agencies, creative teams, and strategy teams, we operate quite often, because this is what we use to come up with the stories, with insights, ultimately with the content. We don't just come up with the content straight away. We like to justify it based on the data, and we want to lead to the content. So for example, we just now picked up all the ads that were targeting families in the last 1 year, across the whole universe of these brands. We want to analyze personas, so we choose this persona analysis, and what it will do, it will build a study. It will actually download all this content, split it into different marketing personas in there, and give you a split. I'm doing it first time, so I don't know what will be out there. A little bit putting myself in your position as well, because it changes over time. So what we see here, that good job was really very big on persona of healthy cooking enthusiasts. They were competing with Crowd Cow. Miraflora is actually not on the list. It's only 5 brands analyzing here. I didn't choose them, but doesn't matter. Yeah, so, and you have also festive food enthusiasts. So basically what it tells, that if you don't look at the second persona, it's really about healthy cooking and about different celebrations that they address. And these are the brands that we were choosing, and it was 1 year worth of data. And this data was coming from Instagram and Facebook ad library, so no Google involved there. Then you can read what this persona is about. And let's say you are this blue Crowd Cow brand. Maybe it's a bit hard for you to fight with a good shop when it comes to their healthy cooking enthusiast universe, because good shop is really running all the ads about this. But maybe you can try to dominate this festive celebration universe, right? Maybe it's an opportunity for you. So I will remember this persona, festive food enthusiast. I will later use this persona to build a story and insight. So I use this persona, festive food enthusiast. And then I go down and I generate more analysis. And I want to come up with different tensions, different industry tensions that are out there as well. Tensions are like pain points. We have this simple formula, is KFC is using this framework. Persona plus pain point plus product equal to story that can bring into the content. So here we have already decided what are the personas. Now we're trying to understand what are their tensions out there. industry. Okay, so we analyze it. Then it will show you a couple of those pain points these 5 brands are addressing. And from there we can also choose something to focus on in our story generation. Okay. For the persona, we were choosing the one that is more underutilized, underused by the good shop. Here we see that good shop again dominates very much, but there is also a tension of challenges in accessing affordable and convenient healthy food options. And there's 2 more, cherishing moments with the loved ones and real master's dilemma. So these 2 are really not occupied by anyone. So maybe if you are a crowd cow, you might want to choose one of these 2 in the bottom, and then dominate that space in communication instead of trying to fight with a good shop everywhere, because obviously advertising budgets for good shop is way bigger as compared to the blue brand crowd cow, right? So I will remember these cherishing moments with loved ones persona. So it's attention address about brand revolve around, and not persona but attention, right? So revolve around the challenges, spending quality time with loved ones, finding meaningful gifts, special occasions, etc. on Valentine's Day. So this persona was particularly picked up around the 14th of February, so it's very recent data this year. So now I'll go to So Inspire model here on the left side. I'll go to Insights and I'll start doing the story building, storytelling. So how do I do it? First of all, and this is a process you will try to do as well. Yeah, so try to focus. So I'll create a character. What is character? And what's the difference between persona and character? Does anybody knows? Raise your hand, tell me what's the difference between personas and characters. Yes?
Character has more than just a persona.
Character has name. Character has a little bit of personal story. Persona is a general description of what is this, right? So to create a character, we need to choose a persona. So this is what I'm going to do. So there was a couple of personas that we really liked. Let's pick up, for example, this grill mall, and maybe a little bit bigger, like healthy gourmet chef, something like this. So I'll create this character. This character will appear here in the list. I wouldn't wait till it would be created. I'll just pick up some of those existing ones. And I go next, and now I need to choose a conflict. So I have the character, the persona, and I want to choose a conflict that persona is facing, so that I can eventually come up with a story, right? So, do I choose a random conflict? No, I'm choosing out of those that were actually already on the platform, detected by all this multitudes of communications, from multitude of communication by everyone. So, for example, here we have culinary challenges and inspiring home cooking, right? So motivating employees, or gift of love, something like this, right? So I can pick up one of them. I would have just detected them in the previous model, right? So you can choose any. In fact, it's a good idea to come up with many stories from many characters and many tensions, and then together with a team decide based on your website research, based on your other insights, what should be that story that you should pick up as a next step for your brand to compete in the market. So we choose a story, so we choose the persona, we choose a conflict. Now we need to choose some angle. Angles are those marketing theories which we have: sociological, economic, psychological, behavioral economic. Those 6 books, we distilled it into the platform. So for example, here you want to choose maybe the desire of community and connection, or in the behavioral economics you can also pick up one of the angles that might work for you. the one you choose the angle, for example, nostalgia and tradition, you can actually generate your story. So in this module, you're going to have your persona reference, that persona that you discover and choose to focus on in your market when you want to promote your product. You have your attention reference, which is the value that brands were, the pain point that the brands were trying to solve for the customers in their ads, that you choose one or two. Then you have behavioral economic angle. That platform was suggesting one of those, and you get an insight. True nourishment comes not from food, but from connection. The essence of meal transcends in the ingredients, in the brand fosters and stories and carries and the memories in nature that truly feed the soul. So that's the actual story in here. So now, if you have somebody with marketing background, or just somebody very creative in the team, I encourage you to use this to come up with a messaging on the market, but you must justify it, where it came from, why you choose it, right? You could also use the help of large language models. One way you could do it, and it's a good way to ideate, not use it as a final content. What I just now did, I have chosen I just taken a screenshot of that screen, and what I'm saying to ChatGPT, for example, that this is the story, the insight, the persona, and I also have attention, and the angle, based on which I need to come up with 10 marketing copies to be used in Facebook ads. And then I have to justify by referencing back to the original data. Make the copies, advertise Miraflora Wagyu brand, selling steak. I'm doing something very simple. You can do it much better way, but the idea is that based on this information, even large language models can come up with a much more precise and grounded and justified results as compared to just asking it to give you some content, is what most of the people are doing, right? So for example, beyond the plate, add copies. Some meals feed your body, others feed your soul. Miraflora Wagyu brings families together with premium steak that sparks tradition, storytelling, connection. Justification connects with insight. The true nourishment comes from emotional connection and shared memories, not just food. So this copy has been created based on this insight that came out from the story that has been created from persona and attention angled in a certain way, right? So this is a framework that we have done. Yes?
Can I have a look at the prompt again? Just
yeah, there was a lot of typos there, but sure.
attention.
I just said there's attention, persona, insight, and a story. And I want to come up with something, and you can come up with another story, with the moments of truth, with the content. You can even generate image ideas. And it's very important to mention in the end that LLM must justify it back to the data it has been provided, because if it's not, it's very likely it will just start producing some random stuff, nothing to do with analytics that you came up with. And when you will be coming up with your insights and copies for us to look at, and we will be presenting, we will not accept anything that I feel it should be this way. It must be justified, because this is the whole point of this conversation we are having today, right?
The image you use is mid-journey, right? On SOMIN.
No, I was just taking a screenshot of this story.
No, but I mean the image that are generated on SOMIN or
Oh,
mid-journey models.
actually I'm not sure. One of them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a visualization of how the persona could look like, just to make the user interface a bit more, nice looking and friendly. Not that necessary. Oh, but that could inspire you your own creation process, right? So,
Yeah.
this is INSEAD's platform. It's to inspire you, for you as a marketer to do a good job. You don't want to do the job for you. You actually don't believe in using large language models, producing the content. We think it's very short-sighted type of. It's very short-sighted tendency that's happening in the market now. We'll finish soon. We think that in marketing it's very important to think very really ground to source, because you might manage hundreds of $millions of marketing budgets if you go to a big company. Right? Yes. So here you go, all justified, and you are very much welcome to ask any questions. And this is a group split. So group number 1 gonna work on Volkswagen Singapore. Group number 2 on StarHub Singapore. Group number 3 on retail banking, OCBC Singapore. Then 4 is ComfortDelGro against Grab and Gojek for the car hailing. Group number 5, it's Indonesia and it's Bluebird. Don't be afraid if you don't know Bahasa platform actually does analytics in English. Then there will be Vietnamese Nissan for group number 6. 5 and 6 particularly challenging and interesting because of different markets. Number 7 will be Gardens by the Bay, Singapore, and then number 8, challenging and interesting because it's software and global. So it's B2B or C-ish B2B because the decision maker for the financial software are SME owners. Sometimes they make decisions like consumers actually, right? And this is a QR code of case study, so you can download it and get inspired of how we were doing this. You don't have the audience data. I decided that just we don't have enough time to blend in the audience data. But I know that in INSEAD you guys have access to Statista and many other things. Or at least you can go to the website and get insights there. And it will be a really big plus to use more than one data, not just the platform, but getting all those resources you guys have in your beautiful university. We have Statista here, right? Everyone can access it. Yeah, so it's a big privilege, believe me. So we can use that. Yeah, and then the presentation will be 6 minutes plus 4 minutes Q&A. Okay? All right? I'm here or around, so you can ask any questions and help you. I'm happy to help you.
Hey, well.
So back here, 11:10.
Yep. We try to be on time for your lunch, yeah? So we're trying to take care of you.
Can we start?
Okay. Okay, let's start.
Yeah, so we'll quickly present the learning from Volkswagen and all the data points that we've looked at. And I'll let Knut start straight away.
Yep, so we identified that the confident innovator is the most important brand personality currently for Volkswagen Singapore. It's characterized by confidence, innovation, and a touch of rebellion. So let's keep that in mind throughout the presentation.
As for persona distributions, this was really interesting because we were able to compare it with 4 other competitors alongside Volkswagen, so Toyota, Honda, Mazda, Kia, and Volkswagen. And what we found out was through this insight that Volkswagen actually invests heavily in their media towards the luxury automobile enthusiasts, as well as the next being the tech-savvy auto enthusiasts. However, as you can see on the graph, the bottom tech-savvy auto enthusiast has a lot of competition amongst the 5 companies that we analyze. However, where Volkswagen really speeds ahead, pun fully intended, above their competitors is in the luxury automobile enthusiasts persona.
Okay, so looking a bit at both ad activity and engagement, what was interesting to see was that all the 5 competitors engage almost as much. There's no clear top engager here. But however, when you look at the engagement, there's a clear dominator, which is Mazda, which has more than 98% of total engagement. So looking a bit deeper at what they were actually doing, so they were most heavily on TikTok, and they were making long videos where they would walk through the customer journey, which would then turn into a better engagement rate at the end.
Looking at the platform distribution and the different platforms that I use to market the company, since Volkswagen is highly reliant on Facebook, and we can also understand that the return on the marketing is not great compared to other platforms, since Facebook represents 90% of the content, but only 75% of the engagements. And when we compare to Mazda, we can see they fully rely on TikTok advertising, and it enables them to reach a far greater number of customers. So our suggestion is to focus maybe on other platforms such as Instagram and TikTok for Volkswagen.
Okay, and jumping on this gap, so looking at the communication contents that Volkswagen is proposing, so we are comparing it more to Mazda. The marine intelligence for the women's comfort, connection, status, and security, which is a mix in between Mazda's and Honda's kind of segments. So we would like engage more with the community engagement throughout the communication, to create more and get the text ideas what I'm saying, but also the innovators that is now our main targets.
So we had a deep dive into solar as well. And from this, we could see that the persona types are strictly deviated towards the hero, which kind of links into their sort of family-based adventure and environmental tropes that Volkswagen is tapping into. So their ad campaigns typically really target sort of car lover, bargain hunters, and techies. We see this really fits in with their kind of striving for targeting affordable customers through those who value quality more so than others. We also see their advertising focuses on comfort, security, and well-being, which again fits in with providing families with a greater sense of peace of mind and building a strong brand image that centers around trust.
Yeah, so we created a character, Tyler Wells, based on this tech-savvy profile. Basically, it's someone that loves technology and smart saving. They aim for financial independence, adventure, and a healthy life. So going forward, we advise Volkswagen to look into these different aspects of the tech-savvy enthusiast.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. No, so we have 4 minutes for questions, right? Actually, in your case, we have more. So you got that situation where their engagement was dominated by Mazda, right? Apart from the channels that they choose, what could be also the reasons why they receive so much engagement, and what does it mean for Volkswagen and for others, in your opinion?
I think the focus is, since they use TikTok, like when you compare it to Facebook, like the amount of views you can make on TikTok is far greater than any other platform, and also it's much easier to comment and like. So I'd say that's the main difference.
There's also focus like on the content. Mazda is really creating a community like engagements, for example, with petition and stuff like that you can't find in any other competitors. But Volkswagen is still like staying too much for the quality, which compete directly with Honda actually, and they should more go to like opening like communities like the families and thus like create something more towards like Mazda's content.
So what does Volkswagen Group should do about that, given what you learned about their activities, their ads and their organic? Should they compete with Mazda or should they leave Mazda? What should they do? Is any action from there that you can recommend for Volkswagen Group?
I guess like the customers from Mazda are not going to be the same as Volkswagen, so I think competing on the same platform doesn't imply that you're going to be competing for the same customers. So I think just to have access to a larger customer base, they should switch to Instagram and TikTok, and then that would enable them to just reach out to 5 raters to have it without necessarily competing with Mazda, since platform is open.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Anybody listened for the presentation? Please listen to each other, okay? You had 40 minutes to prepare. Now your job is to ask questions from others as well, right? And you could learn a lot from others. So that's a part of a learning journey, not just presenting yourself. I have another question. So, given this focus on a little bit like a luxury segment, how would you describe Volkswagen's strategy in Singapore? What they try to sell, who they are trying to focus on?
I think they basically try to sell German quality, like engineering and the heritage, and perhaps they try to target a bit of the older segment, people that are like about 50 and above, that care about tradition and yeah.
Yeah, and additionally on top of the quality, they really honed in on what I said previously in relation to the persona of the luxury, where you're getting really high quality, but you're not losing it out of the aesthetic sense as well. So part of it is also the lifestyle that they're trying to promote to their designated customer segment.
All right. Yeah, I think so. It's how they market here in Singapore. It's when I go to showrooms as well. Okay, thank you very much. Group number 2. So I put the timer for 10 minutes. You try to present within first 6, and then we will have another 4 for Q&A.
No, that's also.
Can we start?
Okay, start. Yeah, thanks for INSEAD colors.
Okay.
Match the startup color as well.
Oh yeah. So our
Okay.
company is StarHub. So you guys might be familiar with what it is. So basically, it's just a prominent telecommunications company and digital services provider headquartered in Singapore. So you might know them like alongside other companies like M1 and Singtel. So they primarily deal with like telecommunications, but also various cybersecurity and digital solutions as well. So maybe going into a bit of the audience analysis. So we identified 3 primary audience segments, and first are like tech enthusiasts, where a lot of people buy like not just like their broadband, but also a lot of devices through StarHub, and also they provide like internet services as well. So a lot of people go to StarHub for that reason. Second would be budget-conscious consumers. They have a lot of deals, and it's really highlighted in the advertising campaigns that they do, in which they have many installment like plans and different ways to pay for devices. And third, I think, is a pretty unique niche that StarHub occupies out of all of the telecommunications companies, is that they really cater to sports fans. And we noticed that when we were analyzing that only StarHub had sports-related promotions and heavily emphasized sports streaming. So even though it was only the 3rd primary audience segment targeted here, it is like the one unique niche that StarHub fulfills.
Okay, so moving on to the persona analysis, we can see that in the past months, StarHub is basically they are communicating with 3 types of personas, which is the heroes, the everyman, and also the rulers. And who are they actually? So the first type of customer is like those who are seeking for empowerment and also achievement. So this target audience align with our brand's brand image as a reliable provider. And the second type of customer, everyman, it means that this kind of person who appeals to inclusivity and relatability. So usually StarHub will connect with them by talking about some everyday consumer, like some everyday needs to meet their expectation. And for the third kind of customer is the ruler, and this
this kind of customer highlight our position as a market leader. And so we also want to build the brand trust with them.
And now here is the content type analysis. We can see that StarHub highlights the product offering, discount offering, and also some value-added services. For the product offering, we can see some like flexible mobile plans, which is promoting customizable plans with products like eSIM and free data roaming, and also the broadband plans, which means emphasizing all-in-one broadband solutions with seamless installation for convenience. And also it has some savings and discounts and for the value-added services, the interesting part is that it showcases extras like entertainment packages, streaming, and sports coverage to enhance appeal, which is consistent with our audience analysis.
And let's talk about topic category analysis. The company focuses on communicating with their audience through top 3 topics, and it's promotions, sports, and festival and holidays. And we can see that by doing so, they can precisely target audience. Like they can find sports stars to promote their discounts, their products and services to the audience.
Okay, so I looked inside of the customer needs, so directly from the customer's perspectives, what really matters for them. And actually, it's interesting if we see the table, the first 3 needs are comfort, security, and connection. Obviously, connection, and like it's a telecom company, so you obviously care about it being secure, it being well connected, and especially comfortable, so easy to use. I think this is reasonably what customers care most about. But then it's interesting to see that the emotional part is very relevant to customers. So they respond to a feeling of trust, reliability, and well-being. And instead what's on the bottom of this scale, so not as important for customers, is all of the status emphasis. So even the sports, like really targeting sports in the advertising may not really align with what customers needs. And that's why maybe we see StarHub not really performing great on like click rates and engagement rates. But yeah, basically, if we look at what customers want, they want security, comfort, and connection, and they don't really care about all of these other parameters.
Yeah. And that's one more thing. As what Pedro said, yeah, this really reflects how they don't really align their customer needs with the way they present their ads as well. So out of all the telecom companies, they have very low clickability scores compared to the others. And just from a layman overview of what they post on social media and their ad space, it really does highlight affordability, sports, and whatnot. And that just doesn't really resonate with the customer needs of StarHub. So that's a potential reason as to why StarHub has very low clickability scores, despite being second on ad activity.
Okay. So there's one comment. Can you go to the persona slide in the very beginning?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just to, yes, this one. Yes, so this is just to let everyone know. This is brand persona, not the customer persona. The personas I was showing to you are the customer personas. And this is who are the customers who are reacting in our content. This persona is how brand positions themselves. And they actually have very, I think youngsters get 16 types of brand personalities. The hero, the everyman, the ruler. Pretty much every brand must choose particular personality, and in case of StarHub, they are the hero and the ruler, and this is how they communicate. If this diagram is all over the place, that means usually that the brand doesn't have a clear strategy and clear tone, and that's a bad news. So StarHub is pretty focused, so it's okay if they pick up top 3. And then out of all their insights, I mean, good thing that you found that the sports activities could be not what the customer are looking for. But if I would tell you that StarHub is the one trying to dominate a niche of streaming sports games, and this is an essential part of the business, how would you change your recommendation given this business insight?
I mean, historically, we've seen they've really tried to concentrate on this sports networking niche. In 2022, I think they finally got broadcasting rights from the English Premier League, which was previously owned by Singtel, so that was a major win for them. And I think they're really reflecting this even proudness and pride in their communications, but I don't know if necessarily they need to use it in all of their ads. Like they really, if you go through their TikTok, which is the most used, engageable platform, it's really about soccer fans. And for mobile provider customers, maybe that's not the first and foremost need.
And this is what you noticed from the clickability scores as well? Did you found that those ads about soccer and sports are not the ones that performing well?
So in terms of engagement rate, at least in the past month, we saw like a very big spike on one specific post which featured some famous soccer players, but it was a sort of ad without even, like not really saying anything about the company, just featuring these players in a funny circumstance. This was on the 30th of March. And it had a boost of visualizations, but still no click engagement, so it wasn't really effective.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll send your recommendations to my friends at StarHub. Oh yeah?
This is probably the first lecture and the only lecture you're taking at INSEAD by engineering professor. I'm so glad how much you were able to accomplish in this short period of time. Now that you have first-hand experiencing such an AI marketing tool, and you've also learned all this fundamental marketing concepts and framework in the core marketing courses in P1, P2, and you also went on and take other marketing electives. To what extent such sort of digital transformation, AI, right now there is a lot of hype about AI, right? So in everywhere, in other sectors as well. To what extent do you think such a digital AI tool that come to play to fundamentally change the way you think about marketing in a more traditional way? Or do you think AI tool like this is just a productivity boost to the marketing agency and marketing people out there? Now that you know how this product works, right? You've experienced it, you see how it works, does it in any ways come to challenge or disrupt the way that traditional marketing works?
I think it's, like you said, mostly productivity boost. I think it helps insofar as analytics goes, in that you can have more detailed analytics. But I don't see where before had humans making the decisions, now all of a sudden you just put an algorithm and all of your marketing campaigns come to life. Because at least honestly too, we were very overwhelmed with the amount of information. But it gets to the point where you have to have the feel and you see what the algorithm gives you and the personas and the stories, and it's very nice. But in the end, I think it's still the people making the decisions, and it's another data point, maybe more detailed analytics. But I think, at least when it comes to marketing, maybe I'm missing something, but I haven't been very convinced.
No, actually, I quite disagree with that. For me, it's not that it's that much of a productivity boost. It's more that it makes data more accessible to people. And the Google Managing Director of APAC that talked to us yesterday told us that the main weakness of many small and medium-sized enterprises were that they did not leverage enough statistics and data. And I'm sure that those types of tools can help with this and make it more accessible. So it's not only productivity, I think it's also better targeting. I think on top of that, it can enable a hyper-personalization at scale, something that was not there before.
Make access to customers to people
But as we're going to start using all of this, it's going to become even more competitive because these tools are going to get cheaper and cheaper and more brands are going to have access to it. Okay? So the advertising cost is going to rise much higher. And at one point, like, immediate disruption within the marketing agency is going to slow down a lot as well. Because everyone's going to be looking at data in certain angles.
Me? Yeah, I like a lot the platform and the capabilities that it had, because using it I could clearly see that there is a lot of potential. There is many things that you can do. And also like the data types that typically when you're a small business owner, as I think Hippolyte mentioned, you wouldn't necessarily access just because you don't have the time or you don't have the capabilities. However, yeah, I think it was a bit complicated, like understanding, what I could do or what I couldn't do with the platform. But in general, yeah, I think it's very powerful. I like the ideation. Francisco, I think, is more ideation should be done by a human, but I think having an assistant in ideation is a good plus. Yeah.
Okay.
I still think it helps with the ideation. I just think now instead of having 2 ideas that you had 2 of your guys just searching through social media, AI gives you 20 ideas based on many more posts. And my point was, at the end of the day, it will still be a person making the decision on which theme to go through and how to follow.
It's still the person making, the human beings making the decision.
And it has to be, right? Because in the big organizations we have marketing guidelines. Have brief coming from US or UK or somewhere. We have a lot of people gonna approve certain things, and for some brands, let's say Heineken in Singapore, you completely cannot touch it at all. You maybe only can translate it to a local language and that's it, because it's untouchable brand. So then if you let AI generate your content, then it might be very cool, but nobody gonna use it ultimately because it just doesn't fit how marketing works.
How do you think about it, Professor Aleks? Because you've been in this industry for 10 years now, and before that you published 30 papers on AI marketing, social network. How do you think it fundamentally changed the industry? Or is it just a productivity?
So it helps you to be deeper, it helps you to become better marketer. If you go to our website, you will see that our vision is to upskill the marketers actually, because all the ideas that are given to them are much deeper as compared to what they could come up by themselves by manually crunching research data and cherry picking the insights. So that's on the content side, right? I think content part of things is not ready for full automated production of the content unless you're an SME and you don't have anybody policing you on what you write, where you do, and all this. However, for things like ad optimization, like Facebook and Google Ads optimization, that's where AI have made things completely automated by helping you to choose creative out of those you provide and target ads and optimize and show ads to the right people. So I would say it depends. If it's a creative side, then humans still plays a very important role, and co-pilots is something. This is kind of a co-pilot in a sense, right? Where you co-create with AI. But when it comes to execution of the ads, that's where AI completely took over, and I think such roles like media buyers will become obsolete very soon, because it's much better decisions can be made without the human in it. Yep.
But do you think the reason why ads work is because not everyone has access to the same information? But as we democratize these tools over the course of time, then the ads are going to be less effective going forward, because the same target audience that is the right fit, and everyone's going to have access to it, and they're going to show the same ads eventually, given that we're democratizing that tool, and it's not going to just make it more expensive, but slow down the creative side of things.
No, we are democratizing the process. We are letting less experienced marketers to do a better job, and that means the competition will be better. It means the quality will improve. in Asia, SOMonitor and SOMIN plays a particular role of educating the industry, so that the industry overall will start catching up with other markets where marketers already produce a very good content, and they have to do even more. So, yes, you're right, it's democratizing the access to data and analytics, but I think it's a very good thing, because previously it was inaccessible for SME owners to get the analytics at the level of enterprise. And now, yes, tools get cheaper, data is available, and they could actually do it if they want. And that's how they can differentiate from others and do a better business, scale better, right? So I think it's a good thing.
No, but for me, like you said, differentiation. I think differentiation is not going to be that much anymore. Like, because since everyone has access to the same information, and differentiation is slowly going to go away.
So you have to.
It's going to commoditize
So you're gonna start improving your product, improving your, like Miraflora, right? They got access to this data, and now they realize there's so many things they need to fix in their business to make it really working business. This is good, because Miraflora will become one more competitor. For consumers, ultimately they're gonna get a better product at a lower price, because others will start finding more ways to differentiate, to come up with. It's actually, competition is always great. And the more stronger companies will be out there, the more we consumers will ultimately benefit, and the industry will grow, in my opinion.
So we're going to focus more on the product side of things, and marketing is good.
Exactly, we're going to focus on how to make it work. Because no longer you can just be best because others have no clue how to run ads. No longer is the case. Everybody now can run ads, produce content, do a good job.